Okay. So yesterday we started looking at this BA training program, and what we did was started with few of the prerequisites, like what is needed for someone to get started. We looked at some of the myths surrounding the business analyst training and who can take and what type of knowledge is needed. Then we looked at the course content, wherein we basically saw that the entire course is divided into three parts. The introduction part, that is to build the basics, so that even someone who belongs to non-IT industry or who hasn't been working as actively as a developer or a QA can also understand the nuances of how the IT team works. Then we looked into what are the different tools that we'll be learning throughout this entire training program. We then moved on to the timelines for this training program. So this is what we covered till yesterday. Now today, uh, we'll start with what will be the outcome of this training program. That is, what are the different topics or different key concepts that we will be learning as part of this training. Okay, this is to ensure that we all are on the same page with respect to what you can expect out of this training. So a business analyst actually does many things. Okay, we often think that a business analyst job is to act as a liaison between the client and the development team. But other than that, also, a business analyst, like I said yesterday, is a technical role. Yeah. So let's start from here itself. I'll write it at the top. A business analyst is a technical role, but that is non-coding. Okay. Now, what are we going to learn from this course, or at the end of this course, what are the things that you should be well versed or comfortable with? So the first thing is, what's the role and importance of a business analyst in an IT organization? Okay. So what are the different type of work you will be doing, and what's the importance of it? Then we will move on to the second part, that is, how do you plan for requirement activities? Okay. So we often use the term requirements, that as business analyst we will be writing down the requirements, but what are the different activities that are involved which will help you write down the requirements? When can you say that I have written a requirement? Okay. Then elicitation techniques. Okay, so there are two different aspects with requirement activities. Like, one is requirement gathering and requirement elicitation. So elicitation is the act of adding details to the requirements. So we will look at what are the different elicitation techniques we have. So the one that's mentioned over here, choose elicitation techniques. So there are bunch of elicitation techniques that we have. Depending on the scenario we are in, we can pick from one of those elicitation techniques. These elicitation techniques will help us ensure that we are able to write down detailed requirements. Okay. Now, moving on, we'll also try to analyze stated requirements. Okay. That is, as business analyst, we must be able to make sense out of what we are writing. Okay? If suppose you are writing down something that does not give any business value, okay, or that does not add any business value in the software, then what is the use of writing such requirements? Okay, then at the end of all whatever you do, whatever requirements you gather, whatever details you capture, all this should go into some form of document. Okay, because we don't usually convey message verbally or orally. If you are conveying messages verbally or orally, sometimes the information is lost in translation. So along with verbal or oral discussions, we will also be ensuring that we write down or capture all this information in the form of a document. Now, this document will help us ensure that everyone is on the same page, like how I am doing. I am presenting to you whatever we are going to learn from this training program in the form of a document. Okay. So now when you guys also see this document, you can get an idea what all can be covered. Okay. Now, while speaking, you may think that no, I remember you told something, but I think I have forgotten, or maybe you have forgotten. So things could be on different pages as well for different people. But when you have everything written down, it is easy to be on the same page. Okay. Then we will also be validating requirements, like whatever requirement we are writing, is it easy to achieve or not? Okay, moving on, we'll also be looking at what are the different elements of requirement management. So requirement management include things like scope creeps. How do you manage situations when customer is frequently asking for changes in the requirement? Okay, because this is a very common scenario. We cannot expect any business to remain constant. Over time, things change, everything evolves. We never like when we started as kid, we might be having different ambitions, but we did not remain kids forever. Okay, with time, we grew ourselves. Okay, our thought process also grew, and when our thought process changed, naturally our ambitions changed. So similarly, even when you start your work or your professional career, some of you might be tempting to change your work stream from a different domain to IT, or within IT from developer or QA into BA role. Okay, so we evolve. So similarly, businesses evolve as well. They also need to change themselves to adapt to customer requirements. So when they are changing, how do you manage requirements in such situations? How do you manage and communicate appropriately to the stakeholders? As of now, assume that stakeholders are nothing but your clients. We will go in detail during the training program. What is a stakeholder? Okay, this I already covered. How do we select an elicitation technique on different scenarios? Then there will be few flow charts that we create. Okay, so imagine this particular piece of information. Suppose if I have just written text, a lot of text over here. Okay, now you may find it little bit boring as well. Okay, it's not that I'm giving you the wrong information. It's not that whatever text I have written is wrong. It's not that the font is incorrect. But if you try to convey lot of information without images, then naturally it becomes slightly boring. Okay, I'm not saying it becomes wrong, it becomes slightly boring. So that's why we try to include flowcharts into our documentations as well. So we will look at some of the commonly used flowcharts as business analysts. So how to draw an activity diagram, how to draw use case diagram, Okay, then we will be reviewing our requirement document, whether it looks good, whether some more changes are needed or not. Okay, then this element of solution verification. So this was a requirement verification or validation. Then once requirements are captured, we need to ensure that we create or design a solution as well. Now, you may not necessarily be designing solution on your own. You may be taking help like from technical architects or other subject matter experts, but then you will be validating whether this solution that we create meets the requirements that I have written or not. Okay, we will also be trying to learn what are the different skills that you require as business analyst. Okay, so when you ask people that as a business analyst, what are you going to do, people will give you different responses. Like you will be writing down requirements, you will be attending meetings with client, you will be talking to development team, you will be communicating requirements, you will be writing release notes, you will be also involved in the sprint reviews or demos. Okay, so there are bunch of things that you can hear from people, but in order for me to do my job successfully, what are the different skills that I require? Okay, then we will, throughout the course, we will also be focusing on waterfall and agile methodologies, and then how are they different from each other. Okay, then as a business analyst, what are the different activities that you will be going through until you have written down your entire requirement? We will be looking at different types of documents that you will be preparing, look starting from BRD, FRD, use cases, user stories, and how they include the vision and scope of the project. Okay. So at the end of the course, we will also try to revisit or recap the entire thing that we have studied so that you get an idea of how to plan different activities. And then, like I said, we'll be going through resume preparation and the interviews or the mock interviews so that you can prepare yourself for any of the upcoming interviews. Now, let me go back to this slide and see if you guys have any questions over here. Okay, so now moving on to the certifications part, because naturally we have a lot of expectations from what certifications we are going to provide, or we can write down after this training program. So from Harsha Trainings, you will be getting a course completion certificate. Okay, that you attended a training program on business analyst from Harsha Training. Along with it,
ಅದು ಸರ್ ಅವು ಏನೋ ಫೈನ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರಂತೆ ಏನೋ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ.
now along with it, some of you may have questions like, are there any professional certifications exam around business analyst? So business analyst certifications, they're basically classified into three categories, and it is offered by an organization called IIBA. Now ECBA is the first certification, then comes the CCBA, and then comes the CBAP. Now these are obviously in the order of their ease or easiness. So ECBA is the entry level certification. Okay. CCBA you can consider it as mid level certifications, and CBAP is your last certification in this category. Now these certifications, they have different requirements as well. For example, for ECBA, there is no requirement of a prior experience. Okay, so even if you undergo a training program, you can very well write down this certification. Okay, for CCBA, that's not the case. For CCBA, you need to demonstrate that you have at least 3,700 hours of BA experience in last 10 years, and in CBAP you need to show you have at least 7,500 hours of BA experience. Okay. Now whatever topics we are covering, actually they are pretty good for you to write down your ECBA examination or certification exam. But remember, this certification is not part of the course. Through this course, we are enabling you with all the required concepts for you to appear for the exam. Okay. Now, one more why we are saying ECBA. Now, if you look at the references, for writing down ECBA exam, you can simply register yourselves on IIBA website and you don't need to provide any references. Whereas for CCBA and CBAP, you need to provide at least two references. Okay. For CCBA, you need to provide reference of someone who holds a CBAP certification. For CBAP, again, you need to provide two references who hold CBAP certification. Basically, these two references are confirming that the person who is going to write the exam has the required knowledge and the expertise to write down the exam. That's why I am referring this person. Okay. Now, the next part would be obviously what's the fees of this entire certification. Okay, so now there are two ways of actually appearing for these exams. One is you become a member for these certification exams. That is, you join any of or any with their membership programs. So what happens is IIBA from time to time conducts different uh, sessions on different business analyst related topics. So when you become a member, you naturally get free access to all these courses as well, or all these different sessions as well. Okay. So they usually encourage people to become member and then write down the exam. Now when you are writing down the exam for ECBA, it's a 50 questions, and all those 50 questions are multiple choice questions. Okay, and you need to finish up that in 90 minutes. When it is CCBA, the number of questions increases to 130 and you are given 180 minutes, that is close to 3 hours. 3 hours will be available with you for completing your exams. For CBAP, some of the number of questions reduces to 120, but then the difficulty level increases. Now you are being given 210 minutes to finish up your exam. Okay. Now suppose if you are not able to clear your exam in the first attempt, then for ECBA or for CCBA or for CBAP, for all of them, you can attempt for the same exam up to 3 times in 1 year only. Okay. If you are still not able to clear the exam in 3 attempts in 1 year, then you will have to pay the fees again and you will have to repeat the entire process again. Okay. For ECBA, as of now, at least there is no renewal condition. For CCBA, you need to accumulate at least 60 CDUs every 3 years to renew your certificate. That is basically what it says is your certification will be valid only for 3 years. After 3 years, you need to renew your certification. So one way of renewing your certification is to accumulate CDUs. CDUs are nothing but you organize sessions for IIBA, or you conduct sessions, or you attend sessions. So for every activity that IIBA conducts, if you are part of it, you will get some CDUs. So you can accumulate up to 60 CDUs in 3 years and then use it for renewal. If not, you can pay renewal fees. Okay. Any questions on the certification part?
Yeah, Rahul, for 2 to 3 years of BA experience candidate, ECBA certification is enough, or we need to have CCBA also?
No, ECBA is more than enough. CCBA and CBAP should only be done. In fact, see, my personal suggestion with respect to certification would be when you start your journey as a business analyst, okay, when you start working and if you are truly enjoying your work, then only you should appear even for ECBA. Okay, there is no point in writing down the certification and then 6 months or 1 year later you decide to change track, that maybe I should do something else, maybe not BA, maybe I should try or aim for something else. So any certification you should only opt when you are actually working as business analyst. Yes, but still, if you insist that without even getting started as business analyst, I want to write a certification, then I would recommend only ECBA. CCBA and CBAP should only be considered when you have true experience of around 2 to 3 years. Okay, so let's say with this training program, you are writing down that I have 2 to 3 years of experience as BA. Then when you gain two more experience or three more years of experience while truly working as BA, then you should consider writing down CCBA.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Yes, the certifications are not mandatory, at least as of now in the field of BA. So no need to produce certification during interviews. There's nothing like this. So during interviews, suppose in your resume, if you are not writing down any certifications, then you don't need to produce certification during interviews. Any other questions? Okay. So we'll move on to the next part, that is your career growth as business analyst. Okay, so how your career is expected to grow as you increase your experience, as you increase your knowledge. So naturally, this is what we all want. Okay, so we are all here to grow professionally. We don't want to be at the same level for longer duration. So how you expect your career growth in BA? Now this entire career growth is divided into three parts: the entry level, mid level, and senior level. Okay. Now what we are doing is we are getting started. So we are at the entry level. So where people in the experience range up to 5 years fall into entry range criteria, where you will be predominantly working as business analyst and then maybe a senior business analyst. So as a business analyst, you are working under the guidance of other people. But when you are demonstrating experience around 5 years, or let's say up to 6 years also, then people expect you to be working as a senior business analyst. So what is the difference? As a business analyst, you may be receiving guidance, consultations from your seniors, even mentoring or coaching. When you become senior, you are expected to train your junior people, guide them with respect to what process is being followed, how that process is being followed, guide them with respect to how they should be conducting their sessions with or conducting meetings with the client or the stakeholders. Okay, so as a senior business analyst, along with doing your day-to-day responsibilities or the job that is assigned to you, you will also be ensuring that you guide, train, or mentor your junior business analysts as well. Okay, now when we move up the ladder, that is when we go from, let's say, when we start with 6 to 10 years of experience range as working as completely business analyst. Okay, then we should aim for moving as a lead business analyst. Okay, or popularly known as nowadays, because agile is there, so we call them as product owners. Okay, so product owner, what happens is you start owning a product. Okay, so whatever changes that are needed in a given product, whether you call it a product or whether you call it a software or application, they all basically are trying to say or refer to the same thing. But in the world of IT, with agile methodology, people now prefer to use the term product. Okay, so product, software, applications, they are all trying to refer to the same thing, but let's stick to the term product over here. So as a product owner, you are being given ownership of the software product that you are representing. Okay, now I can write down a very complex product for a health insurance application, for a life insurance application. So my main product could have different sub products within it. For example, customer enrollment. Okay, after enrollment, like they can up billings. After billing, maybe ID cards, because what's the proof that you have taken a life insurance from me or a health insurance from me? Then filing for claims. Suppose you have taken a health insurance and you get admitted to the hospital, and now you want to claim for money that you have spent in the hospital. So claim processing, data analytics. Now I on the surface, to a customer, I must think like this is all one application, but within the IT industry, I know all the applications are further subdivided into different categories. Okay, so I could become a product owner of one of the categories of application. Okay, so wherein as a product owner, I am trying to lead a team of business analysts. So some of the experiences or some of the people, I am assigning them the work. Now some organizations, they may require you to work as product owner not with 6 years of experience, but let's say 8 years of experience. But what basically I want to tell you is, the moment you hit 6 years mark, okay, the moment you complete 6 years of experience as business analyst, and it's not a very difficult thing, you should start thinking about how do I move myself up the ladder. Okay, so what are the certifications that I could do related to product owner? What are the different activities or roles that I can start fulfilling or start playing in my organization, like talking to your manager or seniors, to ensure that you start working even as associate to a product owner. Okay, so that you start getting that experience of product owner. How do you lead a team? how do you convey information, how do you interact with clients, because nowadays lot of organizations who have the role of product owner, they ensure that product owner is the one who talks to client. Business analyst or senior business analyst will talk to product owner. Okay, if product owner tells business analyst that I am busy, you go and directly talk to client, then as a business analyst we will go out and directly start talking with the client also. Okay, so as a business analyst we are open for communication with anyone, but my primary source of information will be product owner, that I'll be getting down my requirements from product owner first. And then if product owner tells me that go and talk to client, then I'll go and talk to client. For product owner, they will be communicating with the client, or they will be taking out or conducting surveys to get information for themselves. Now this product owner experience is out of scope of this training program. This training program tries to limit down the limit down the discussion to the first set. So we are trying to build the base over here. Then comes the senior part, where you actually start working as a manager who is sorry, a product manager who is actually overseeing multiple product owners. So we said one application can be divided into multiple sub applications. Okay, so maybe instead of a product owner, if a product owner is leading one sub application, you can say one product manager leads multiple sub applications. Okay, so that's how we are aiming to progress in our career, that you start as BA business analyst, get on to senior business analyst, try to become a lead business analyst, or equivalent to lead business analyst is the product owner role. Perform the product owner role for some time, gain sufficient experience, and then move on to the product manager space as well. Now after product manager, you can say that the what would be the next part, maybe you can get into the leadership activities. Okay, some senior managers, directors, leadership activities where you are no longer dependent on a particular skill, but it is more about providing direction to the organization. Okay, any questions so far? Sorry, Jagdeshwari, you said BA opportunities are good. Are you giving that as information, or are you asking that as a question, that are there enough BA opportunities? Okay. Yes, as a business analyst, there are good opportunities, but like I said, what could be lacking or what could not help you in the starting is if you are a complete fresher. Okay, so for freshers there will be very restricted or limited opportunities, and to be honest with you, lot of organizations don't want to hire complete freshers. They want at least some sort of experience, and they feel that unless you have exposure to professional world with a minimum of 1 to 2 year, not even one, with minimum of 2 years, then they feel that the person may not be able to do justice with client management or client handling skills, or providing a good vision to the project. So they feel that you should not only have business analyst related experience, but professional experience of how are you going to handle client. See, no one would like to give a complete fresher access to client, because clients are giving us the work. Suppose as a fresher, if you are not having good client management or client handling skills, and if client really doesn't like or appreciate that, chances are they will not give you the IT work again. They may try to find someone else. So unless you are a complete fresher, there are good amount of opportunities as business analyst, okay, especially in the experience range of 2 to 6 years, because the lesser experience you have, there are more opportunities at the pyramid. As you grow up the ladder, the pyramid structure restricts the opportunities, and that is not just for business analysts, that is for any domain. Okay, there is usually only one CEO in the organization, but you could find hundreds of developers and hundreds of BAs. There will not be more than one CEO. So as you grow up the ladder, the opportunities will become restricted, and you will have to accordingly change your approach as well. So we'll become from BA to senior BA, then product owner, and then product manager. So there are good opportunities. Along with these opportunities, keep moving forward. Okay, so we are at the end of the course, at least for this entire training program. So what can you expect? What is this training program? How are we going to cover this entire training program? Certifications, career growth. So we have covered all that part as part of all that information. Now what we will try to do is we'll try to cover one more topic, that is on how this role of business analyst actually got into picture. But before we actually move forward, any questions that you guys have?
Yeah, Rahul, here why we need to know SQL as a business analyst?
Okay, good question. So we are constantly moving into an era where T-shaped skills are like mandatory. So what is this T-shaped skill? So if you look at the structure of T, there is a horizontal bar at the top. So what horizontal bar represents is that you should have knowledge of different skills. Okay. The vertical bar in the T represents your expertise. That out of the different skills that you have, there should be at least one skill where you are an expert. So as a business analyst, it's not just SQL alone, but different skills that along with SQL, that you have documentation skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills. You can even learn coding also, but we are trying to be expert in one area, that is on the business analysis part. So we know SQL, you can learn Power BI also, but no one is expecting you to be an expert or knowledgeable in that area. Now, nowadays, why SQL is also good to know along with having multiple skills is there are a lot of data related initiatives that have started. Okay, so you might be hearing terms like data analyst, data engineer, data science, AI, artificial intelligence. So all those things are carried out on top of data. Okay, now sometimes or naturally as a business analyst, how I can do my work is I can smartly talk to my data analyst or data engineers, and I can tell them that, give me a report of all the people who are above 18 years in India. So they will give me the report, I just have to review the report, like how many people are there, out of that how many male are there, how many female are there. Or I can learn SQL and do some of the basic stuffs on my own. Okay, so through SQL you're just trying to add a value. Even if you don't learn SQL, no one will pressurize you unless you are into data related initiatives where you join a team that is working on data analytics, data science, data engineering, artificial intelligence. where you are talking a lot about data, in those instances, it is good for you as a business analyst to know about SQL. Okay. If you are working on core software development that is not related to data, then probably even if you don't know SQL, then it will not hurt. Okay. Nowadays, all organizations, what they are trying to do is their entire projects or the software development is divided into two parts. One, they call it as their regular or the BAU. BAU stands for business as usual. Okay. So for example, you are a bank. Okay. A customer comes to you and wants to open up a bank account. So there will be some software you will have wherein you can enter customer details. You can attach the documents that customer is. So you can attach the documents that the customer is sharing. Okay. So all those will. Okay. So enrollment we talked about. Okay. You want to open up your savings bank account. Then managing customer information. Okay. So you want to provide your customers with access to a portal or an interface through which they can update their phone number, their email IDs, their personal detail, addresses. They can also use that portal to view their bank account details, how much balance they have, and all that stuff. They can use that for transferring money also. Okay. Now these all things where you are providing an option to your customer to access different features, they all actually fall under BAU category, that is business as usual. That in order to run your business on a day-to-day basis, you are providing these features. Now whenever you open up a account, okay, or not just account, whenever a customer is doing transaction, transferring money from their account to someone else account, or viewing their balance. So what could happen is they are generating data. Now we can use this data to do lot of initiatives. For example, we can see how many customers do I have from Telangana. Okay. Or basically how many customers do I have from every state of India. Then I can identify which state has from which I have highest number of customers, from which state I have lowest number of customers. The state where I have lowest number of customers, probably I need to focus more. I need to find or create strategies on how to attract customers in those particular states. The states where I already have highest number of customers, probably I don't have to be personally involved in those cases. Now these data related initiatives, the analytics that we are doing, it is not at all mandatory for me to run my business, but it is helping me create strategy. Okay. So nowadays organizations, what earlier organizations used to do is, in order to identify customer, they would approach Google, they would approach Microsoft, they would approach different these search engines to get a list of customers who are the potential customers who would be willing to open up a bank account. Nowadays, what companies are doing is, why to approach Google? I can maintain my own data. I can talk to these customers and see if these customers are willing to refer their friends, families into for opening up their bank account to me. So you will see the relationship manager calling you and asking, sir, if any of your family member, like wife, husband, or maybe your kids if they are adult, or your parents, brother, sister, if anyone is interested. So now they themselves are maintaining that data. Plus, they are using their customer data to sell them credit card also, loans also. so that for selling loan I don't have to go to Google and ask them, can you give me a list of people who might be interested in personal loan? I am maintaining my own data, so I can use that data for selling my products directly. So there are some data related initiatives which are acting as add-ons on top of my regular software, which is helping design strategy. Okay. Now a lot of new work in last few years is coming on the data related part. Okay. Because organizations are realizing some value of it. That one, I don't have to go and pay any vendor money. I can spend that money, maintain my own data warehouse, and then use my own data. So the goal is maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, I will start saving a lot of money because I will not require a vendor. Some of the organizations, they still don't want to do the data related work. They are like, it's a headache, overhead, setting up data related capabilities. So let vendors only do it, and then I will pay them as and when needed. Okay. Now suppose if you get to work in this data related initiatives, then it is always good to know the SQL part. Okay. It is not going to it is sorry, it is not going to impact you in any negative way. It is only going to add value that you can bring along with you. Naturally, with the number of experience that we increase, we have to we have to change the work we do as well. Okay. If we are starting as business analyst, we cannot say that I will work as business analyst right throughout my career. We have to eventually start working as a senior person, guide or mentor your juniors. We have to start taking up bigger initiatives, maybe manage an entire team altogether. We have to manage or work as product manager to start working or managing different applications now altogether. So similarly, we are increasing our role. Similar to that, we need to increase our skill set as well. Now that's a long answer to your question, but yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Anudeep.
yeah,
You have questions?
yeah. Yeah, actually, my point is the strategies, whatever you are telling, related to data analysis, those are actually related to business owners, na? As a BA, we need to communicate between business owners and software developers. So where exactly we need to use SQL? Do we need to have make any reports or like that? I'm asking.
No, no, no. You don't have to create any reports as such. If you are working in these core software developments, you don't have to worry about SQL or creating reports, because your intention is, I am creating a software and that software should fulfill the requirement. Suppose I created this notepad software. So notepad software can be used to make notes. Okay. So there is no data as such, there is no reporting as such. We are creating a software and we are ensuring that the software meets my requirements. It is only when you are part of some of the data related initiatives, like you are talking to a customer, that what kind of reports are you looking for. Let's say I'm looking for a sales report. Customer says, in sales report, what are the different fields you are looking for? So customer may not know about it. So they may say that, okay, why don't you help me? What are the different columns we have currently? So if you know SQL, you can do some of these queries easily. You don't have to prepare reports, but when you are talking to customer, you can provide them some of the basic information, that we have one column that captures the revenue. We have one column for profit. We have one column for say losses as well. We have one column for dates also, and we have one column for the category of item that we have sold. So we have like that multiple columns. So if you know SQL, you can just provide the structure of the table, that these are the different columns I have in the table. Now, when the customer says that create a final visualization report, as a business analyst, I am not expected to go out and create those reports. I need to pass on that information to a data analyst. Okay, that person will be responsible for creating reports or putting it into a visual form. Now, usually, creating reports is not a huge work. Okay, so you may not have a big team to work on. It could be one BA and maybe let's say 6 to 7 data analysts, because there is not huge requirements as such for you to capture. But when you are working in the regular software development projects, then those requirements become slightly more detailed, more complex. You need to mention things like how the interface will look like, what different options will be available in the notepad. Under those options, what will be the sub options? What will happen when I click on every option? So when you are creating regular software, there your interaction will be more. There you will be writing more detailed requirements, whereas for data related initiatives, your interaction with client may be restricted to setting up reports, frequency of reports, how those reports will be delivered, and then you communicate that information to your data analyst that you guys will have to create a report. The report should be created every day 5 a.m. and the report, once it is created, it should be delivered or shared with the client via email. So some of the basic requirement capturing that you can do. And just for facilitating your conversations with the clients, if you have access, you can share the common detail column details, like I gave you one example. If you don't know SQL, what will happen? You will tell the client that I will get back to you. Okay, so you will go back to your team, ask them for the column level details, take those details and then go back to the client. Now, what may happen is this may require more time. Whenever there is back and forth, naturally the timelines increases. So when we know a little bit of SQL, we can reduce that back and forth. So as in starting as business analyst, it is okay for you to take some time, but naturally when you become a senior business analyst, people would appreciate like if you can save time. So a business analyst, if they are doing some work in 8 hours, as a senior person it may be expected that you would do that same work in 6 hours, not because you are fast, but because you have experience, and you can utilize your experience to ensure that you are well prepared. You know what type of questions client can ask, so you already go prepared in the meeting. Whereas as a business analyst may go unprepared in the meeting, and then when client asks question, they will tell client that let me get back to you. So they will go back, discuss with team, then provide answers.
Okay, okay, Rahul, got it.
So, but most likely we all as business analysts aim to get into this software development part. If you can get into software development part, that is where your major learning would be. Okay. If you get into data related initiatives at the starting of your career, I would not encourage that. I would say that in the starting of your career you should aim for software development. Learn the different aspects of business analyst. Once you are comfortable or once you know the basics of business analyst, then at any point in time you can switch between your projects, because you know what a business analyst does. In the starting itself, if you get to data related initiatives, your learning may not be very solid.
Okay. Yeah, Rahul, I have one more doubt.
Okay.
Uh, whenever whenever we go as a business analyst having 2 to 3 years of experience, will they expect any particular domain knowledge?
Ideally, for every business analyst, they usually expect some type of domain knowledge. So let's say if you are currently working for a banking domain, then your first preference should be to apply in companies that have business analyst position in the finance related sector. Okay, so because for you also it will be a plus point to sell your domain knowledge that for last 2 years or last 3 years I am into banking domain. If you have worked on multiple domains, like let's say 1 year you worked in banking, 1 year you worked in health insurance, then maybe you can apply in both sides. But if you have lesser experience, you can get away with domain knowledge. But the more experience you get, then you need to show some domain knowledge as well. Like suppose if you have 6 years of experience, out of six you worked only all 6 years in banking domain, then for sure you should look for companies in banking domain first. Because why to waste my knowledge? I 6 years I spent learning banking only. So first preference would be that. But in case if I'm not able to get a job in banking domain, then I can definitely try in healthcare domain or other domains that are available. If anyone asks you, you don't have domain knowledge, why should we hire you? My obvious response should be highlighting my strengths. That what are my strengths? What is my work experience as business analyst, and what have I done to learn the domain. Suppose I have banking experience but I am applying in a healthcare company, so maybe I can study a little bit of healthcare before appearing for interview, so that I can convince the interviewer that though I have not worked in healthcare, I had these are my strengths. I can learn new things. I can do my business analyst job effectively. Last 6 years, I have worked as a business analyst, different projects I have taken, and even before appearing for this interview, I learned some of the basics of healthcare. So I have already started preparing myself even before joining this job. So if you show that zeal that I'm willing to learn even before getting into this job, people would really admire it. That yes, even before starting, this guy has already learned so many things. So it is not that they will not give you job, but for your own knowledge, it is, I would advise that if you have experience in a particular domain, forget about company. You as an individual should apply in that domain first. Why to waste your knowledge that you have already acquired in last 2 years, 3 years, 4 or 6 years or 10 years?
Okay, okay, Rahul, got it.
Okay, so Madhukar is asking, currently recession is going on. Is there good opportunities for business analyst jobs? Yes, Madhukar, and just to clarify on recession, so maybe we'll have elections in India this year, but these recessions are not more related to India, but more with respect to US side. A lot of our business analyst related work is primarily from US and Europe. So along with India, US is also undergoing elections this year. So there is expectation that things would be revived in US, and when things are revived in US, you will have more opportunities. So I'll not say there are no opportunities for business analysts. In fact, some of our previous students who completed their batch in the month of February, they got placed in the companies with 5 years of experience or 4 years of experience in business analyst. So there are jobs, there are definitely jobs, but there will be more jobs when economy becomes a little better in US. So Jagdeshwari is asking, is Harsha Training going to provide job assistance after course completion? So yes, from Harsha Training side, you all will be added to a WhatsApp group upon confirmation of your enrollment to the course. So the access to the WhatsApp group is open for you guys even after the course completion as well. So whenever we come across any job opportunities, we will try to post in those groups so that you can apply. Along with that, as part of job assistance, like I said, during the course itself, we'll be going through resume preparation and the mock interviews as well. And if you don't mind, may I know the company you are working for? So right now, I'm working for a US health insurance client, and it's a direct contract actually. So when I was working for this client from Accenture side, and during COVID, the client offered me direct position to work with them, but on a remote basis from India itself. So I am directly working for the client in an individual capacity, not through an organization. Did I miss any questions? No. Any other questions? Okay, if no question, sorry, I see some question coming up. Can we get support if we put experience? So what kind of support are you expecting, Jagdeshwari? Oh, you mean post job support, like once you start job, if you require any assistance? So ideally, you will not require any job support at all from us. So that's the entire intention of this training, that you will get to understand what are the different concepts involved within your work as business analyst. But then, like I said, if you have any questions, okay, you can always contact us on that WhatsApp group. So the entire intention of this training program is to enable you to become independent person so that you can execute your tasks or work independently. So when I say independently means for doing your creating your document, you don't require any support or assistance from us. You may require certain knowledge. That's a different thing. Okay, so whenever you join any organization, every organization has different form of work. Yes, so you may undergo certain training or KT from that organization, but if you get into a project after joining an organization, and let's say you are encountering some difficulty over there. So when I say some difficulty means you require some type of clarification or doubt to be clarified, you can definitely reach out to us. But if you are asking, like, I get a project and I don't know anything about B, I'm still not confident even after going through the entire training program, so can you help me complete my project in my work, then we don't provide that assistance as of now. But we don't want to go till that part itself where you have to reach out to me or someone for work support. Through this training program and assignments and case study, the intention is that you will become independent. Okay, any final questions, guys? Okay, so in that case, we'll connect tomorrow for our third session, uh, third demo, and tomorrow we will try to discover some of the commonly related topics. For example, uh, how this role of business analyst came into picture, what are the common expectations from a business analyst, and then the impact of AI tool, artificial intelligence tools like Chat GPT on your work as business analyst. Okay, so we'll try to cover these three topics tomorrow in our third session, third demo session. So see you guys tomorrow.